The following production is produced by the State University of New York College at Oneonta.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here at Oneonta State. And tonight we're going to talk about men's and women's swimming and diving. We've invited in Coach Chris Schuler and a couple of her swimmers and a diver. And so we're going to talk to them tonight and talk about the season and see how things are going. So please join me after the break, where I'll be joined by tonight's first guest, Chris Schuler.
What makes D3 special is the ability to participate in my team and within the broader community.
The perfect ending to a perfect season.
Being a D3 student athlete has completely expanded my life.
I learned how to lead. I really found a voice.
What time is it?
It's more about the experience rather than just a sport itself.
Without the experience of being a Division III student athlete, I wouldn't be the person who I am today.
NCAA Division III. Discover, develop, dedicate.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is head men's and women's swimming and diving coach, Chris Schuler. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks.
How are things going so far? We're off to a good start.
We're off to a very good start, yes.
Why don't you talk about some of the early season things that we've been doing so far?
Well, we started off the season with a win away at Oswego, and that was something we were really hoping to, we took them out the first time last year, and we really wanted to kind of make that, solidified. Let's do it again at their pool, and we were able to very successfully. Health of the team is good also. We've got minimal injuries, more just like maintenance kind of stuff. A little bit of a flu bug over the Thanksgiving holiday, but nothing unexpected for this time of year. Our numbers are strong also, and we have a very small senior class. We have no seniors on the men's side, and just 3 on the women's side that will be graduating. So the health of the team as a whole looks very good.
Now, when you look at injuries over the last few years, do you think the number of injuries we've had? What are the most common types of injuries for swimmers and divers?
Bicipital tendonitis, occasional rotator cuff, and those are just for competitive swimming, especially at this level. Many of those participants have been doing it since they were 5, 6 years old, and so those are repetitive injuries. And for a number of them coming from larger programs, there's not always that attentiveness to their good form and good technique. It's more just kind of working through the yardage and getting it done. And as a result of that, they do develop what I call, survival strokes. They just kind of evolve into this whatever gets them through the practice. And for many of them, it takes them out of their natural body positions that they should be in and creates, those overuse injuries that we're seeing. For our help in that, or to kind of take away from a lot of that years of bad form, bad technique, we've implemented a lot of, we call toys, so we'll use the freestyle paddles, fulcrums. They're training tools that allow them to feel the stroke correctly every time they take a stroke, which is nice. We still do a lot of stroke drill work so that we're, breaking down aspects of how they're supposed to be swimming. But after like 350s, they'll sometimes gravitate back to their old habits because, again, this has been ingrained in for many of them for, 5, 10 years. And by using some of the training tools, the toys, it reinforces every stroke that they take, so instead of me reminding them periodically every other, set or whatnot, this is every time they take a stroke in the water to really help improve upon that. And so I feel like as we've implemented that along with the videotaping, that we've been doing and analyzing and evaluating their videotaping, that we are seeing improvements, over the course of the season and most certainly over the course of their careers, from freshman year through to their senior year. There are improvements in their stroke development. And again, less shoulder issues for those in the upperclassmen area. We tend to see them more in the freshmen and sophomores because they're bringing in a lot of bad habits that we're trying to condition out, train out. And for some of them, as much as they come from strong programs, they aren't mentally and physically prepared for the type of training that we do here. And so it's a learning curve and an adjustment process.
So do you think that they come here with maybe some of these injuries and it's just maybe compounded when you try to fix what's wrong and now they're doing it right?
Yeah, yeah, very much the case. Very much the case. We've got people coming in that have already had pre-existing issues. And so even through the recruiting process, we try to evaluate with them and reassure them of, our training staff and our athletic training staff and the caliber of attention that they're going to receive as members of the program to help keep that at bay or at least keep it under control.
Right. Now, your off-season conditioning program must play a big part in some of these injury prevention, type things. I mean, what kind of things do you do in the off-season with them, or even in season? In season,
we do some band work with them. Our preseason or our like morning practices in October are weight training, weightlifting, and a lot of that incorporates stability exercises, shoulder prevention exercises. We do some work with the med balls. We try very hard to educate them on that process. We even have on our YouTube site, a video demonstrating the correct way to do some of the exercises in hopes that they follow through with that over the course of the spring, over the summer, and then coming into the season. I think the biggest help we have is our upperclassmen conveying it to the underclassmen. They tend to monitor them better, listen to them more, and kind of stick with how they're supposed to be doing those things as a postseason when it comes down from our upperclassmen.
So continuity in the program with some of those, like as you say, are some of our leaders.
Yes.
Being able to, I've already gone through it a couple of years, and these are the things I found. I mean, if they see results, they're going to be more excited, and to be able to pass it down to those younger swimmers is probably pretty exciting for them.
And for some of them, it's do what I do now, don't do what I did before.
Right.
Because they can then relive, hey, my freshman year I didn't do this and it was awful. It ruined my championships, or it had a negative impact on my championships because I didn't do this. I'm doing this stuff now, and look at where I'm at this stage of the game because I'm doing this now, because I've followed this, I've bought into it. And so I think that, the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And I think that they listen to that and follow through on that a lot more than just coaches always telling you should do this.
Right. Now, swimming, like running, it's an endurance. A lot of it, you got just sprinting events, you got your endurance events, that kind of stuff. The training is similar, just in two different mediums.
Right.
Do you taper for meets? Do you plan for big meets? Is it always training and tapering, or is it just maybe trying to get through the year, and then obviously the big meets are, is our conference championship in February, which is the one we really train for.
Yes.
But how does that work? We have our, we participate in the ECAC Winter Championships, which is a large meet.
Yeah.
We went to the North Country. That's a large meet, kind of a tournament type thing.
It's a big meet for us. Yeah.
So how do you kind of bring them through the season and train with, throughout to get them to be peaking or really ready for these kinds of meets?
Right. It changes from year to year depending on our goal objectives, what we want to accomplish from that. We typically have for North Country, that's, one of the peak parts of our year. We've never tapered for it, but we have on occasions rested more so than others. I think this year, looking at, the advantage of our sport, is its numbers, and you can see everybody's numbers well ahead of the game. And looking at some of the numbers going into North Country, we were comfortable without resting going into the championships. And and our preliminary projections were good, and when we finished, we were, even ahead of some of our preliminary projections of what we thought the score was going to be. So we were very pleased with the end results of that. And it's kind of nice, too, it's like an experiment at times. How well can they still perform when you're pushing them this hard on the other end of things? And it was nice to see what they were able to generate, knowing that we really didn't rust going into North Country. Now, we've done something different this season than we have in previous seasons, more so in that as we do our training, we've broken our groups up even further into sprinters practice and then mid-distance and distance practice. In the past, we've kind of trained those groups, but not as segregated as we have this particular season. And so as we go into ECACs, our sprinters, we are resting them. I wouldn't say it's a full-blown taper, but we're certainly resting them more so than we ever have going into the ECAC meets. With the mid-distance and distance group, we're only backing down on them beginning like today and tomorrow. And I think because of the muscle physiology that's involved in there, fast twitch muscle fiber versus slow twitch muscle fiber, you kind of see body types react differently to that, and their needs for that are different. And in the last 3 years, we've taken notes fairly well as we go into our championship taper and what worked well for certain groups. And again, we've evaluated our mid-distance and distance swimmers have done phenomenally well at championships with, Ryan Walsh as a SUNY champion in sort of like our mid-distance group, Melissa Erickson's finishing in the top 8 in her events, Kristen Maglioli finishing in the top 8, and her performances. Those are all areas where those are our mid-distance distance people. They've done really well. Our sprinters, it's been kind of hit or miss. We've seen improvements in their performances come championship times, but not the big bang effect that we've seen from our mid-distance and distance people. And so I'm very excited to see as we go into championships this year, how different that is. We've already been very impressed with their performances thus far, as our sprinters go. We recruited more sprinters into the group, but how we're conditioning them, we're very excited at what we're seeing in the results of the changes that we've made to how we are conditioning them. ECACs will be a really, interesting test in seeing what they're able to do, because traditionally, our sprinters have not done well at ECACs. They've done okay, but they've not had, like season performance bests, because they're so tired and they're so broken down. We're hoping that that's not going to be the case this year, the way that we're working with them, and then replicating that again, because we'll have substantial enough time to build things back up again with the winter break and then training for Florida, and then the 2 weeks that we have before classes even resume. And then we have almost, I think, a week and a half, and then we go to championships. So I'm very excited about that change for us, because they're finishing out their season only really having to worry about swimming. We're only looking at a week before championships of classes, and we're already well into our taper at that stage of the game. So the amount of time and commitment that they're spending in the pool, doing their conditioning, is dropped down significantly while they're dealing with their classes.
Okay. Now, so as we get closer to the final question, maybe is what are you looking forward to this year? I mean, you've kind of over the last 3 years, you've been building, you've brought in, you keep building in from the back end with, your freshmen and your sophomores. So, I mean, really ultimately for our men's and women's programs this year are championships, which is the meet that we really train for. I mean, what would you like to see from our men and women this year?
I mean, obviously moving up in our team rankings. We've established as a whole, we don't want less than 4th place. That's what we're looking for, and that's what we've been, having goal setting meetings with individuals. What's it going to take to get you to here? Accountability and practices for their pace times and meeting the marks to be able to hit that. We want to bring back more SUNYAC champions. You know, we want to bring back more medal finishes. We want to relay definitely in the top 3. You know, if not even vying for you know, first place opportunity. We want to go to nationals. You know, so we have athletes that, you know, their personal goal times are setting themselves up to be able to go to nationals. And so as much as you can lay the groundwork for this is the plan, we're working the plan, things look good, unfortunately we know life events happen that are well outside of our control that can negatively impact that. You know, I suppose that's the challenge of our sport and working towards that one event, you know. Somebody can get mono 2 weeks before championships, you know, or, you know, a relay can get disqualified. You know, there's lots of things that as much as you plan for, there's always other things that could interfere with that. That said, so far the plan is on track. Things are looking good. I am cautiously optimistic, you know, and as much as I enjoy the season, there's that part of me that can't wait for it to be over with so that all of the hard work gets validated and we're able to say, okay, you know, it worked, we did it, you know. But, you know, we're just pacing ourselves, and this is what we can control for right now, and so that's where the focus is continuing to stay.
Well, we certainly think you're off to a great start, and we hope that everyone does stay healthy, and we hope everyone does meet their goals. And at the end, hey, we'll send some people to nationals, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So
definitely.
good luck the rest of the way.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Coach Schuler for coming by this evening. And after the break, I'll be joined in studio by junior Kristen Magliola.
Danny, thank you for coming. I've been meaning to talk to you for a while. It's about us. I can't be with you any longer. I know you really like me, and I like you too. But it's just too much for me. It's like you always have to be around me. Like, when I ask if you want to go for a walk with me, you get so overexcited. Maybe it was a bad idea to move in together. It's my fault, not yours. I was just so excited to be with you, I didn't realize I wasn't ready. You're a good dog. I know you'll find someone great.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is women's swimmer Kristen Magliola. Welcome to the show, Kristen.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for coming by today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm from Shoreham, which is located on Long Island, and I'm a biology major.
Biology major, and this is your 3rd year with our swimming and diving program, and you've had a lot of success for your first 3 years. Top 8 finisher in all your events at the SUNYAC Championships, and you've been pretty close to a SUNYAC Championship as well. What's your goals for this year going in?
Well, my goal this year is to actually beat the girl that won. So, I mean, she is really fast, and she did beat me at the New Paltz meet, but I'm going to go and I'm going to get her.
Now, the competition is pretty stiff in our, there are a lot of great swimmers in our conference year in and year out, and certainly to be considered one of those, coming in from high school, did you think you'd have, this kind of success coming in? How'd you feel about, the transition from high school to college swimming?
I actually felt like the transition wasn't that bad. Like, I'm used to swimming. I've been swimming since I was 10 years old. So, yes, we have to practice every day, whereas I got to choose in high school when I wanted to practice. So, that is a little harder. But
now the training, we talked to Coach Schuler earlier on the show about the training, and it's pretty grinding at times, and certainly the injuries and things like that. You've been able to stay very healthy, without any of those shoulder problems. Do you think is it due to the training, the constant training, the off-season stuff? What would you attribute that to?
I think it's the training. The trainers, we are always in the trainer's office. If you go to them, you won't get an injury, but if you neglect and you don't go, then a lot of people just get injuries. You have to stretch too. So. Right.
So now some of the things that with our athletic training staff, and we have 3, and I know that all 3 of them are very good, and they do. They're working with so many athletes. Some of the things that they, with the shoulder strengthening, exercises and things like that. So you've learned a lot maybe about some physiology and things like that through swimming and through dealing with the trainers and trying to stay healthy? I mean, have you learned stuff like that?
Yes, a little bit, yeah. And I love their stimulator machine. It's the best.
Now,
I don't know. It's weird. It makes you move all around.
Now, what about nutrition stuff? I mean, do they talk about nutrition? I mean, you know, the kinds of things that you might need to eat and to help you perform at a peak level? I mean, do they talk about that kind of stuff as well?
I mean, yes, we've had a lot of nutritional meetings, and it kind of helps us see like what we're eating. We had to enter like what our food journals into the computer, and we burn off a lot of calories in swimming, so we eat a lot.
Right. Now, why don't you let everybody know the events that you compete for us? What are they?
I usually compete in the 400 individual medley. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's 100 fly, 100 back, 100 breaststroke, and 100 freestyle.
Now, do you think that's the most difficult event, or is that your easiest event?
Oh, that's the most difficult event. I absolutely do not like swimming it, but somehow I'm always entered in it.
Right. Well, because you're very good at it. I mean, we want to try and put our best swimmers, obviously, in all the events. But to be able to swim 4 different strokes, and to be that good at each one of them, because a lot of people would specialize. You know, I'm a freestyler, I'm a butterfly, or I'm do these kinds of things. I mean, so when did you in high school? Did you also do the individual medley, or did you just compete at each one of those separately? I mean,
in high school, I also did the individual medley.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Now, this year, what are you hoping for yourself personally? You know, besides beating that girl from New Paltz.
This year, I'm just hoping to still finish in the top 8, maybe make nationals. I mean, the times get harder every year, so I really have to work.
Right, right. Well, I mean, because the athletes do get better each year, and certainly our athletes now are starting to get to that point now where we're getting to those times that are just right there, and we certainly hope that some of you can qualify. We're going to have Jermaine on the show and talk about his diving, and certainly he's right on the edge of qualifying. I mean, he did last year, but we're hoping he'll get in as well. Anything stand out in your first 3 years, academically, athletically, that you might, like if someone was a prospective student athlete watching this, I mean, what would you say about Oneonta?
I would say that Oneonta is a great school, and it is hard to manage your work and practice, but you can get through it, and there's a lot of tutors out there to help you.
Right. So time management skills, you know, our athletes tend to be a little, talking with other athletes on some of the other shows that we've had, they all talk about how time management is so important. So you would tell somebody that you got to really be on top of things.
Yes, and also like the upperclassmen help the freshmen. That's how a team is. I mean, they're like a family.
Right, right. And certainly our team, I mean, watching you at home meets, I mean, it looks like everyone really gets along, and you know, both men and women. You know, you mean you're 2 separate teams, but yet you're training together, you're on the road together. I mean, so those kinds of things you think will build lifelong friendships.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we certainly wish you good luck this year. We hope that you bring home a SUNY championship and make that national qualifying mark for each one of your events. And thanks for coming by tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Kristen Magliola for coming by tonight. And after the break, I'll be joined by sophomore diver Jermaine Miller.
WUOW 104.7 FM is the region's premier radio station, offering award-winning programming from National Public Radio and Pacifica Radio Networks, giving you the chance to become more informed about the arts, information, and entertainment from around the country and around the world. WUOW is your community radio station. Join us and support the sound.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is sophomore diver Jermaine Miller. Welcome to the show, Jermaine. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Jermaine Miller. I'm from Elmira, New York, and my sport is diving and track.
Driving and track, that's right. You're a 2-sport athlete and a very good 2-sport athlete. Individual athletes, I mean, but I know you do. I mean, geez, I say you play pickup basketball all the time too. I mean, you're a pretty accomplished athlete. I mean, how'd you decide on swimming and track?
Can't dribble.
Can't dribble.
Yeah. So I really like diving. I just showed up one day and saw some people flipping. So
right.
It's like
now, how long have you been diving?
Since 7th grade.
7th grade. Now, and because at the home meets there, our first home meet there, I see you working out on the trampoline and doing the flips, and you do continuous flips. I mean, we had gymnastics in high school, but you know, the flips were never something I could do. I mean, is it just something you can just naturally do, or is it just something if you work at it? I mean, can you get better at it?
Yeah, you can definitely get better at it. But it was just fun. Naturally, I could do it. But
now for you, so that's really it, right? It's the fun. It's the being up.
It's definitely fun.
Yeah.
I like heights. So it's like
well, heights is important. Yeah. If you don't like heights, you can't dive, right? Yeah. Now, of course, the 1 meter and the 3 meter. Is the biggest difference just in the height?
I'd say yeah. There's a lot of like spotting, so you have to know where you are in the air. I have a lot of trouble with that in 3 meter because it's a lot higher up in the air. So,
right. Now the dives that you do. I mean, last year you made a tremendous impact on our team in the diving. I mean, you were our top diver. You set some school records. I mean, you qualified in both 1 meter and 3 meter, if I remember. You know, for the NCAAs, you know, where it's kind of a little different for divers. I mean, they have to go to a committee and your dives have to be rescored. Yeah, I mean, it's really pretty extensive, but certainly, you know, that's quite a first year from high school. I mean, did you know, coming from high school, did you think that maybe you'd be in that kind of a position as a first year athlete?
No, not really. I really thought it would be a lot harder.
Yeah.
And I tried my best, so I was pretty happy with this.
So now this year you've kind of picked up a little bit where you left off, and now you'll build yourself towards, you know, we're competing at ECACs and, of course, in our conference meet. I mean, do you have the same kind of lofty goals to definitely get to nationals this year?
Yes, I definitely want to go.
Yeah?
Yes.
Now we had, just so you know, back in the 70s, we had some national champion divers. It's been a long time since we've had a diver at this level that can compete for us, so we certainly hope you can get there. As you look at your season ahead, training-wise, I mean, what kind of training do you do? I mean, is it just jumping and diving all the time, or?
We definitely, I go to the swimmers to the gym, and then we have dry land before our practice. And during Florida, we run to the pool and back, back and forth. So I love ab workouts and.
Now, when you say dry land,
is just like running, jumping.
Okay.
Like technique, like say like pike ups.
Oh, okay.
For example.
Okay. Now, when you diving, when you're getting ready to, you know, you'll watch another. Do you watch other people when they dive, or do you just like focus
Sometimes.
out? Oh, okay.
If they're really good, then I'll watch them.
Yeah.
Our divers, I'll watch them too.
Yeah. Do you pick up anything from other divers? I mean, technique and stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of times they'll be like, well, he's got a little higher than like I think I am, so I'll try that. Or he's twisting a lot faster, so I'll pull my twist in a little like harder or something like that.
Right. So now each dive, you know, we have certain degree of difficulties for people who may not know anything about diving. I mean, each dive is, you know, has a degree of difficulty, and of course there's scores, and it's based on 6, right? 6, no, it's 10, right? It's diving scores.
10.
Yeah, it's 10. At some point I was trying to think it was 6, but do you run the dives through your mind before you get up on the board and actually execute it?
Yeah, it's a very mental sport. You have to think about what you're doing, and if you're not really, sometimes we'll just chuck it and see what happens, but most of the time you got to really think about it.
Right. So now when you're actually practicing diving, you know, I mean, is it just, do you try things when you're practicing just to see if you can do them, you know, to maybe move up in some of your dives?
That's how I learned a lot of my like harder dives. Like you just hold on to a flip until you like smack or or just twist until you're lost or you find your way around or something like that.
And when you hit the water, I mean, you know,
it hurts. It does.
Even, you know, the entry or whatever. I mean, obviously, you know, when you watch, you know, Olympic type diving and you see them enter the water, and sometimes there's just this like little splash. I mean, or something like that. I mean, can you tell when you go in the water?
Sometimes you can, but a lot of times like it'll feel like it, but then you might look on a video or something and be like, wow, that was a pretty big splash.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to see if we can just close a little bit here with some of your track stuff, because obviously you made an impact on our track and field team as well during the outdoor season. You can't compete indoors because of the swim season, but you competed for us in the triple? Long jump?
Hurdles and
pole vault. What's that like to do two sports and kind of really different?
It's a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
A lot of different workouts. I actually try to bring some of the workouts from track for the divers because we need a little bit more. But
right.
But I'd say my favorite event of track would be hurdles.
Hurdles. High hurdles.
Yeah, high hurdles.
High hurdles.
And gonna do some more pole vaulting this year. Hopefully get a little higher.
Yeah. Now, what did you clear last year for us?
I don't remember. 12.
No.
It's 12.
Well, I mean,
well,
when I look, again, I look at divers and I look at the pole vaulters, and they're very similar. I mean, you really have to, mentally, I think you really have to trust yourself to know that you're going to flip or turn or, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, a pole vault, if you don't make it, you're falling backwards and, you know, you're going to land on the track, not in the water. I mean, you know, if you miss a dive, you know, it's, even though it's not really it's a little softer, but it still can.
Yeah, it still can leave a bruise.
Yeah, still leave a bruise. Well, so this year, what are your goals for this year?
My goal is to make it to nationals, definitely in diving, and hopefully get top like 3 in SUNY X for pole vaulting and high hurdles. In the high hurdles, and then I mean, I know that you're, like I said, I mean, you're an important member of our track and field program, even if it's only for one season. I mean, certainly. Certainly, we know that you did a great job for us. Yeah, I mean, so to be a two-sport athlete here at Oneonta, I mean, you know, a lot of kids today, they specialize, they come in, they just play one sport, you know, and that's it for them. But you're a two-sport athlete. I mean, tell us a little bit about, you know, just briefly what it's like to be a two-sport athlete. It's kind of time-consuming, but in the end, it's definitely worth it. Definitely meet a lot of new people. Right. Meet new friends. Right. Different groups, because I mean, you're the only swimmer and diver that compete on our track team, right? So I mean, for you, it's a different group of people that you get to see, you know, get to deal with and get to meet and hang out with. Well, we certainly want to thank you for coming by tonight. We wish you good luck the whole season and all the rest of the year, because you'll be, you know, like we said, you know, outdoor track ends in May, and we hope that you can get to even nationals in both sports. So good luck. Thank you. All right. Well, I'd like to thank all my guests tonight, Jermaine, Kristen, and Coach Schuler, for coming by and talking about swimming and diving. And we hope that you'll follow them all year long on our website as they compete for nationals. I mean, that's what they're SUNY champions and nationals. So follow along with them, www.oneontaathletics.com. And we'd like to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Inside Red Dragon Sports.